I'm Bill.
I'm Chris.
I'm Scott, and you're listening to
Three Guys and a Bottle.
We're here to, you recognize some of the boys. We got Bill and we got Chris, Three Guys in a Bottle.
What's happening?
We are here to talk about...
What we're drinking first?
That's the beginning, yes. Which I think I need a bigger cup. This cup is not big enough. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yep. Cheers, everybody. There you go.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yes. More of that.
So it's been a little while since we've done this. About a year. Because can we say it, Bill? Can we say happy birthday? This is our Halloween episode.
Yeah. I mean, like we did last year.
We can.
We recorded it, released it on the.
Has it
first
been
day.
that long since we did one?
I mean, we did the other show.
We did the follow-up, which...
Yeah.
So I guess we do things biannually.
Yes.
Is that the word?
Yeah,
biannually.
we are bi. So...
We're bi.
But we wanted to talk about... I just feel like I'm so discombobulated. You would think I actually know what I'm doing, but,
And you're the one that looks the most
Yeah,
official by
yeah.
far, as like the actual official
I don't know,
podcast.
we'll see. We are talking about our top bands with dual guitar players, right? And we wanted to kind of go through like 1970 to 1995.
Wait a minute! I thought it was top metal guitarists that we're talking about. Are you guys messing with me?
Rock and metal. It's rock and metal.
Rock and metal, rock and metal. And so can I say that we got on early before we went to record to go through ground rules. And in that conversation, we were actually talking about, well, do we even need to talk in bands? Because we're just going to go with it anyway. And even when we talked about what the ground rules were, then we jump on and go, oh, wait a second. Are we talking about our favorite cartoon character? Or wait, were you talking about our favorite peanut butter?
Some people think that, probably this bands on my list are rock, or they're going to think they're metal. And
so rock and metal, right?
Yeah. So, there you go.
But just single guitar players, correct? Am I right or am I wrong? Come on, seriously. You're fucking with me. Were you texting on the side? Like, let's mess with
right
that?
here.
Yeah.
I'm going here, so we have proof of it, right?
Yeah.
This is starting out like awesome too, and I mean that.
Get out of here. Well, I have a top one.
Okay.
Then. So
Top one,
All right.
exactly. So now we're gonna
hold on. I'm looking back. Top 10 rock and metal guitarists. Book it.
Talk rock and metal.
Wait.
There you go.
2 guitarists.
We talked about
Two
top
guitars.
10 rock and metal bands with 2 guitarists.
With 2 guitars. Yeah.
I missed that part of the text.
No, you did it. Did you really?
Well, but then
did?
when I typed lower, I did write where I got the thumbs up to it. I left out, even though it's only 2 inches above on the screen, and
Well, how about I give you guys my top 1 and then sound off, and I'll opine on your choices as well.
And I was just going to say,
we starting at number 10, or you're just going to give me your number 1 guitarist?
No, I actually do have I have one of my top 10 that I picked 2 people that were twin leads in a band. It was my number 4. It was consider them one, so it was my number 4 guitar duo of my number 4 guitarist, my number 1 guitar duo of all time.
Yes.
So.
Gotcha. So you could probably come up with a list real quick while we're going through this.
Boy, that might be difficult for me. I was all jazzed up too about.
I still want to hear them. Just say their names twice, and that will be like dual.
That'll be duels. That's funny. Well, mine are all duels.
How about I take 2 bands that were similar and put them together?
That can work too. Again, it's like if we're going to start like with rules now, then
I appreciate the thumbs up though, where it says right here, top 10 rock and metal guitarists, because that's what I looked at.
Yeah,
and then just go up 2 inches, and because 2 inches matter, right?
Wow. Okay, so but at this point, in my defense, which I don't defend myself very often, there were a ton of texts flying, and I was in the midst of something, trying to pay attention to what was going on, and just concerning myself with the actual day and time, and that was the last thing I saw. So.
Okay. Well, no, single guitarist would have been. That's not.
Oh wait, you know what? I can add one here. All right, hold on. Now I've got 2.
Yeah, you could probably a lot of them. I got honorable mentions in the dual guitar.
Okay. Well, let's hear those first. Yeah.
I'm gonna add my honorable mentions together, and that'll be my
because you
3.
you have 3 A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then 1 and 2.
And maybe Chris can make his list based off of Scott's list and my list and his rank.
Now I have 3. Well, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to give my opinion of what you guys do, but I'll give mine to start off, because the rest of the guys I picked don't play in bands that have another guitar player at all, too.
So I guess it's me and Scott. So being the guitarist, I'm just going to start this.
Please.
I like it. Go ahead. Perfect.
I have 3 honorable mentions, and one of them's going to piss both of you guys off.
How do you even know that many bands that have twin
You're
leads?
going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised, Chris. You're going to be like, holy
Chris, did you get the 1970 to 1995?
1979.
I did.
Okay.
25 years, brother.
That part I caught.
And I still have 10 bands that I feel, and a reason I picked the top 10 is bands.
Well, let's hear them.
It's the bands I listen to, the bands that inspire me, or bands that I learn their licks from. And in my honorable mentions,
I just came up with number 4.
See, keep going. Yeah.
My honorable mentions I got 3: Twisted Sister, Eagles, and then this one's gonna piss you off, Iron Maiden.
Honorable mention.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
I didn't learn their riffs. They weren't a band I learned riffs off of. I listened to their stuff.
Based on your qualifications,
Eagles, Joe Walsh.
I get it.
Exactly. So that's why they're honorable mentions, and they're great. They all have great dual guitar players, and obviously through the Eagles, they had Joe Walsh had so many good. Anyways, but the Twisted Sister guys are underrated, man. I mean, I had their first record, Can't Stop Rock and Roll. I'm like, these guys kick.
That was some good stuff. Yeah, definitely.
They
were great.
So those are my honorable mentions. Scott, you got any?
I do. So I did stretch out beyond metal. Again, the category was rock and metal, so I did that. And part of certainly bands that I've really listened to, which will be near the top of my list. But as far as just an overall appreciation of their sound, some honorable mentions. I'll have Aerosmith, which maybe some will say, what, they had 2 guitar players, but Brad Whitford was in the band.
Yep, he was.
Definitely a classic sound for sure. And now that they're gone, like you're never going to see them again. I was stoked to see them a few times.
I got to see him with Dokken.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I saw him at Dokken, I think Long Beach Arena. Yeah.
Long Beach Arena.
I also saw him with this band, which is also an honorable mention. I'm a fan, but I'm not a huge fan, but you can't deny Guns N' Roses. And again, Slash and Izzy Stradlin, which, kind of unassuming, but when you kind of put them both together, it's awesome. And yeah, I will leave that with my 2 honorable mentions.
Right.
I've got an honorable mention group. I'm actually up to 6 now, but I'm gonna put these guys.
See, you're gonna get there.
I only have one.
All right.
I only have one honorable mention listing, and that's the duo of Bill Crawford and Pete Papageorgiou. one of my favorite slashing tandems of all time.
Thank you,
cool.
man. Yes, the Aussie.
That's my honorable mention. And because I don't have a top 10, you guys are like number 7 right now. So you're sliding in there.
I'm gonna start with number 10. Obviously, we go, and it's my only '90s band mention. It's actually the Foo Fighters.
Okay.
So because they had Pat Schmier, one of my favorite ever rock names. Pat Schmier, and then obviously Dave Grohl. Who knew that he was going to come from tragedy to just be a great songwriter and entertainer, and then he comes out with that those guys.
Yeah.
Great stuff, man. I still love the Foo Fighters. So that's.
I will tell you, for live shows, I saw them at Wrigley Field, and to this day, it's probably in my top 5 live shows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. And Dave Grohl is 100% rock star. That guy is
exactly. Who knew? Right? Just, I mean, he always was a great Nirvana. But
he flew out on stage. I'll never forget. There was no pyro. There was no anything. He just came blaring on stage, playing, ran down the catwalk, and goes in the microphone and says, "You motherfuckers are in for a long-ass night." And then they played for like 3 hours straight.
That's awesome.
It was fantastic.
All right, Scotty.
All right, number 10. I'm going to go with...
Ooh.
Got it.
Warren DeMartini, Robin Crosby. Again, I've always really liked that band, and I don't think putting them any higher would be, I can pick the list, but I thought that they definitely sat right in there at number 10. Again, that sound is so distinct, right? And it was always, to me, one of the cooler metal bands, hair metal bands of the era. Just distinct sound,
exactly.
cool songs. Some heavier stuff too on the EP and the first record that I really liked.
Yeah, and they do that. They do the no-con tuning on that first.
That's
record,
right. Yeah, yeah.
You're in Love. That's in our tuning. And I'll tell you another thing. I never heard of the band before. They opened for Ozzy on the Bark at the Moon tour, one of my first concerts ever. Went out and bought their cassette tape the next day because they were so good. We're like, who is this band rap? They were both those guitarists were like, wow, as a young up-and-coming guitar player, was blown
Absolutely.
away.
Yeah.
Great choice.
Yeah, the opening of You're in Love is awesome. That's
exactly.
Just a great riff. Unbelievable.
Yep. Awesome. So, all right. So,
is it me?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Well, are we going in particular order?
Well, we are. But
you may go in any order that you so choose.
I'm going to go with AC/DC. So that would be my call. I think it's like AC/DC.
Yeah.
But if we're talking people with two guitar players, definitely.
And people forget.
I mean, one of my favorite bands. It's iconic because we used to listen to Back in Black in the locker room when we dressed for football games, and it's been in my head ever since. And I love it when you get to a point where, the band's most popular song is your least favorite song.
Right.
On an album, and that's, so AC/DC.
Yeah, people forget that, there's Malcolm and Angus, so.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because Angus gets some, which leads me into my number 9, AC/DC. There you go. Was definitely a band that I loved. I mean, there's still bands with dual guitar players that I love more just for what I love to listen to. But yeah, that was definitely one of the greatest bands with dual guitarists. Number 9 for Crawford.
Number 9, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Again, you got Don Felder, Joe Walsh. Again, everybody knows the key albums, key songs, one of the biggest selling bands of all time. And yeah, when it comes on, that's a band I don't turn. And I love listening to all of it. And I never saw them in concert. And I was in Vegas a week ago, and while I saw Judas Priest, which I will talk about later, on a Wednesday night, on Friday, Eagles were started continuing, because they do like weekends at the Sphere, so they're doing that right now. So, but yeah, just so good, just sounds just.
Yeah, Joe Walsh is awesome. His solo stuff is some of my favorite stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that pick. So.
Who's up next? Is it you? Are you number 8?
I'll start off number 8. Scott mentioned them earlier. Aerosmith. So, another one I listened to a ton of. Love the songs. Love, everything about them. Loved when I saw them in concert. Unfortunately, for Chris, they fucking blew Dokken away. The show, Dokken sounded great, but, Dokken sounded great, but holy shit, did, Steven Tyler, unbelievable. I was still just running all over the stage. I didn't even think I would like them that much in concert. I was kind of almost there for Dokken, but that show just blew me away. So. But
yeah, that was one of the shows I begrudgingly took like my neighbor kid to because his dad couldn't make it, and I just absolutely didn't want to go. And I remember leaving the show being like, those guys were they killed it live. I mean,
yeah, Pilsen.
That's why there's nothing like live music. You know?
Pilsen was the most energetic out of everyone in the band. You know, so but yeah. Anyways, there's mine at number 8. I think Scott. Did you do number 8? I think
Scott.
Yeah. My 8.
You did the Eagles?
I did the Eagles. That was my number 9.
See, we're already out of order. I flustered everyone.
Oh. Okay.
My number 8 is Guns N' Roses. I will admit here that I'm not a fan of Guns N' Roses. I mean, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
This is not something I would listen to, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't deny.
No, you can't.
Any of the guitar play on that. It's a great band. Period.
Yeah.
Great everything. It just was never my thing for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's my number 8.
No, I totally get that. So, all right. So, am I supposed to start number 7?
Do it. What the hell? We're throwing out all the rules. We shouldn't have had even a pregame.
That went so well.
All I know is the greatest thing about this country is you can still rock in America, and Night Ranger comes in at
There we
number
go.
7.
Nice.
Amen. There you go, dude. That's a good one.
Brad Gillis and Jeff Watson. Anyone with the Les Paul inspired me. You know, single guitarist. If I had to pick my top 10 list, you guys would know it'd be Randy Rhoads. So it's pretty easy. But I mean, Jeff Watson is a very underrated guitar player. And when he did
an underrated band, period, man.
Yeah, when he did the 8-fingered hammer-ons, all of us were like, "What is he doing?" He did an 8-finger hammer-on. He's the first one to ever do it. You know, and he did it well. So. Yeah, Night Ranger's in at number 7. I was struggling with putting them higher, but it was just more about, you know, they didn't have as big of a catalog as most of the other bands I have ahead of them. You know, but yeah, they're definitely one of my favorites. Big inspiration on me.
Nice. All right, so my number 7, AC/DC.
Yep. Okay.
Higher ranking than me.
Yeah. Again, it's. I like what you said, Chris. That when their most famous song becomes your most hated, and you know, it can be overplayed, but still going back. And I didn't listen to, you know, you're never going to forget the songs, but I just remember years ago, kind of this memory. I was over at a buddy's house, and he just got. What was it now? I'm trying. Just drew a blank on what record it was. It was the brown cover. Yeah, it was For Those About to Rock.
For Those About to Rock?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that was maybe not my first
I still love
introduction,
that song, though.
But just hearing that, it's like, all right, this is powerful. But same thing. I'd heard, and someone commented that I know. It's like, oh, yeah, did you see the news that AC/DC is going to be playing in Nashville? And that was like a week ago. And I go, I have not seen any news. And I searched for it, and I go, AC/DC Nashville. And it was like, oh yeah, they're going to be playing at the stadium. He must have had a really good dream, because I haven't seen that anywhere. I'd heard some rumors that they might be doing that, just in general from a tour. But it's like, I don't know. Would I go see them if they came back out again? Yeah. It's one of those just iconic bands that you're not going to get. You know, this could be it. If they actually do any more shows, that could be it.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right.
Yeah, they're great to see live. I saw the last show at Dodger Stadium before Brian Johnson went down, and they had to cancel the tour, and it was outstanding.
Yeah, nice.
Everything I expected it to be, and those guys were old. I mean, so Angus went for like a 15-minute solo. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So.
I can't even stand up for 15 minutes with my guitar.
I know.
So, all right. So,
is it me for number 7? I'm gonna come out of left field here, big time, because we've had a lot of carryover in this thing. I'm gonna go with Damn Yankees.
Okay.
I figured you were gonna do that band. I was gonna be in one of my honorable mentions, but I didn't want to have like too many honorable.
Again, it's pretty much like up here and right here, but
yeah,
you know, 2 guitars. What do they do? 1 album? 2 albums?
Yeah, I know that your boy Nuge is in that, so I get it.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I always liked the Nuge when I was 7. You know, I won't even get into his lifestyle and politics and all that stuff. But, yeah, they were, I mean, he's a hell of a guitar player, no matter what.
Nice. All right, so we're cruising along here, going down to number 6. Crawford's going to start this one. This was an easy one for me, but I almost put them higher just because they're such a good band, and they still are. Def Leppard, number 6. I mean, Phil Collins. I mean, especially if you hear, On Through the Night, their first record when they were.
That is so good, so good.
Yeah, and the song "Wasted," that riff. I used to just sit and play that for like an hour straight because it was just so cool. But
which one of the guys is it now that has like 4% body fat at like 70 that goes out there and plays?
Phil Collins.
I can't remember which one of the two. I think it is Phil. Yeah.
Yeah, Phil's still around.
Like jacked.
They've got Vinny Vincent, right? Playing the other guitar player now.
Vinny, he was in Dio.
Vinny Vincent.
Yeah.
The Dio guy.
It's Vinny Vincent.
I guess that's kicking in. The vodka's
yeah, it is. It's working.
The invasion.
Exactly. So, but I see his face, but I can't think of his name. Anyways, so there you go. Number 6.
Nice. My number 6, Scorpions. Again, 50 years in, right? And then there's a couple nearly 50-year in bands that I have to go. But same thing, just, great songs. Matisse Yabs turned 69 yesterday. So he probably started when he was 17.
And they actually, I had to look, they barely made the list. Or no, that was a different one. I think they started before 1970, but they broke up for a while or something, or maybe that was Priest. But anyway, so I was like looking.
DQ.
No, they're both in there. Yeah.
I was looking into it, but they're good. I think they were, anyways. But yeah, great band. When Michael and Rudolph Schenker were in it, then they got Matthias Yabs, and then they played the US Festival, and that's like when we all fell in love with them.
Yeah, I remember the first one worldwide, and even before Blackout, I had Worldwide Live, and then I got Blackout.
Nice. You went in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So Chris, number 6.
I may get disqualified on this one. I'm not 100% certain. But my criteria for this one is that we do not count anything past like 1982, because everything after that is complete and utter dog shit. Sadly, because I love these gals, it's Heart.
Yeah.
And
that's actually
they were just two quality guitar players. As a matter of fact, I think they were married for a while.
Yes.
But once they hit the 80s and started playing like Alone and all that other drivelly romance bullshit, it just went off a cliff. But man, early Heart, they rocked.
Yeah, the sound of Barracuda, everyone wanted a freaking flanger pedal after that.
Yeah.
So, no, that's a good one. Great one. So, all right. I guess Crawford's going to start off the top 5 now. Boy, the top 5. I kept moving stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like once you get into the top 5, you're like, But it's been mentioned earlier was Rat. I put them up higher just because I had never heard of the band. Saw them open for Ozzy, and was just blown away. Yeah. And then Warren DeMartini is a very underrated lead guitarist. Robin Crosby's was a solid guitar player as well. Had a little bit of lead stuff, but yeah, Warren DeMartini, I don't know why he doesn't get more praise. So I think he took lessons from George Lynch too, right? I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, I'd heard that out here. So anyways, love all that stuff, that drop D flat tuning. That's a big inspiration on, my style of music writing too. So we're at number 5.
Nice. Yeah. My turn? Yeah. We always say we just lose track amongst 3 people. Yeah. So I will go with Def Leppard at 5.
There we go.
Again, it's the early, first 4 albums for me stand out. On Through the Night, just good, heavier rock and stuff. Again, like Pyromania and Hysteria. There's no doubt what impact those had, and with Mutt Lange and the production and just the sales and the hit after hit after hit, and saw them a few times on the tours, and it was a party, right? It was a fun time, but there was like you can dig deep. And there was some really good songs.
When you dig deep, you're like, wow, that's the thing. It's just like that's that's why Night Ranger was lower on the list, because they had 2 records, before they kind of broke up and had their thing. If they would have kept on it, who knows? But yeah, Def Leppard, when you hear how, Wasted from On Through the Night and everything after that, was just,
absolutely,
way to go.
Good stuff.
So.
All right, I'm going to get DQ'd again for this one. Because I know the least about music of anybody here. But because one of the guys played his bass like a rhythm guitar, I'm going to go with Fast Eddie Clarke and Lemmy from Motorhead.
We will let that slide. There. How's that?
And you kind of got to let anything with Lemmy slide. That's usually the rules when it comes to rock and roll. So I think there was a movie one time where they asked a question, something about who's better at whatever, God or Lemmy, and the guy said, God. No, Lemmy. No. And he said, it's a trick question. Lemmy is God. So
nice.
That's funny.
That's my number 5, Motorhead.
Perfect. All right, rounding into the top 4. This was tough for me not being higher, but it's just because these other bands influenced me more than this band, but this band definitely made me change gears as a guitarist. It's Metallica. So, wow, what can you say? That sound came, and it's hard to believe that Kill 'Em All came out in the 70s. I think it was like 79 or 78.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 1980. I don't know. I thought it was like right on the cusp. Like, wait, I think it was like 79. You're like, what? Yeah, obviously.
And you know what's great? If that album came out today, it'd still be a fucking hit. It'd be, all that stuff would be crazy.
It's so good. So yeah, it's too bad that we lost, Cliff Burton when we did, but they still made great records, after that. So yep, Metallica number 4 for me.
All right, my number 4, Queensryche. Yeah.
I had a feeling they would show up.
I knew they had to be in there somewhere.
Absolutely. And again, there's so many things I can say that I love about Queensryche, but really focusing on just the guitar players, Chris DeGarmo and Eddie Jackson on bass. Michael Wilton is the other guitar player. I was going to say, I'll be DQ'd, Chris, if I can't name the 5 original members of Queensryche. Yeah. Scott Rockenfield and Jeff Tate. There, I'll finish it out. But yeah, again, it just
there you go.
There's so many things. Just the blending, and can it even stand out? I know they're good guitarists, but just the whole package, right? For me, just the sound and everything. It just made such a huge difference to me, growing up and getting interested into music, and that's all I got on that.
All right.
What are we on, 5 or 4?
We're up. That was 4.
Yeah.
This is 4? Oh, wow.
You can still build your
all
list,
right.
Chris. You still got time. Yeah.
No, I've got it. I knew I'd have it before it was all over. I just needed a little time. My number 4, you wanted the best and you got the best. Ace Frehley and Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Yeah. I knew it coming up.
Again,
I saw Bill's shirt.
Very askew. I actually had them on my top 10 together. Obviously, Ace was, much more the showman lead guitar player. Paul was serviceable, but and Ace, I still think is underrated. Actually,
very, very much so. Especially,
and obviously the band that influenced every other band pretty much in the world.
Yeah,
so.
Especially a solo record. There's a lot of people that dog on Kiss too. It's like, oh, their songs aren't great, but great documentary with them, and they basically were selling out arenas but making no money for the record company because they were a live band. And so until they wrote Rock and Roll All Night, Party Every Day, then that's when they became that next
As we said, the song that you like the least.
Yep, the anthem. They wrote the anthem, and they didn't even want to do it, but their livelihood was at stake. Pretty interesting. It's a great documentary.
I'll have to check that out. What's the name of it? I'm sure you're just playing Kiss.
It was on. I don't even remember. I saw it about 2 months ago. But there's 2 parts to it. It was like an A&E series, but I think they're replaying it on Hulu or something. It's only a couple of years old.
No, I will check it out.
Gets to the realsies, but that was number 4 for you, right? So, I start off.
Yes, number 4.
Top 3.
3. Here we go.
And this was mentioned earlier, just because Scott already mentioned Scorpions. They're one of the main things. The bands that played, the US Festival were just influence on me. And when you heard that big sound and all that, like that choreography and from Germany. Wow, just wow. Scorpions. Just the great riffs and the songs and the mood. There's a lot of mood, and they did those ballads.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, they did some great
Still
ballads.
Loving You.
Just came out of
Some
nowhere.
Still Loving You is I think one of the best songs still.
Yeah.
The way it builds, and God, it's just
If you do
so well done.
I haven't looked. I'm sure there's probably covers out there of like R&B singers doing that because it can fall into like a really cool piano vibe. I bet with that song.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
I always love Big City Nights too for some reason. I don't know why. I always love that song.
Yeah. So Scorpions number 3 for me.
Nice. All right. So these top 3, I probably could have moved around a little bit, but I think. Again, for you, Bill, obviously, where you played the riffs, I wasn't playing these riffs, but just as far as, overall impact in totality, this is kind of where I settled. So my number 3 was Metallica.
Right.
Again, I probably could have pushed them up to 1. I feel good with my 1 and 2, but again, everything with Metallica. Even up to the most recent record that came out, 14 months ago, 15 months ago, 72 seasons. That was like, okay, you guys still have it, and
they do.
They're coming here in Nashville in May, so they'll be doing a Friday night and Friday and Sunday, and different sets. Different openers, which I think is cool. So that way you could go to 2 shows and experience 2 different things. I'm looking forward to the Suicidal Tendencies and Limp Bizkit Metallica night. So,
wow.
I like Fred Durst's new look, man. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yeah.
But he's got like this old golfer look going on, man, and it's
fantastic.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
Seriously, it is.
Like when you,
I never had any respect for that guy, but now that I see him, I'm like, this is the coolest look of all time.
like when you and your dad rolled up on Jeff Pilson look.
That was just my dad, not me.
Oh, that's
Excuse me, ma'am.
No, that was my dad. Excuse me, ma'am. Yeah.
That's a great one. Great story.
I mean, if that doesn't scream like old football coach, right, at you, nothing does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Is it me number 3? I'm going to keep this short and sweet because mine is Metallica
Nice.
also. That's my number 3. So we can move right along because I'd say all the same shit that Scott said.
Yep. I know. That's the thing. It's like my top 5 could just, anyways. So, all right. So number 2 and number 1, but I'm going to do number 2, obviously. And they were mentioned earlier, but Judas Priest.
Yeah.
And for me, I heard Unleashed in the East. That was the first record. So I was like you, Scott. You kind of heard something that was like, what? I was like, holy shit. I mean, that's all. It's like my friend played it for me. I couldn't even believe it. And typically, I don't like the high singers, as you guys know. So, but there was just something about what they did and the attitude and both guitar players, KK and Glenn. I mean, unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The riffs they were playing, and then I couldn't even figure out what they were playing most of the time. That's what you do. You go up and you ear train and you try and learn these riffs. I couldn't even learn half those Judas Priest riffs because they were so intricate with each other.
That's saying something.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so it's tough. It really is. So.
If you can't learn it, I can't imagine.
Yeah. I mean, like, when you hear the intro to do 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 do, there's like all sorts of like blending harmonies and stuff. Anyways,
The
just
Hellion Electric Eye.
Symphony of guitars. Symphony of guitars. Anyways, Judas Priest number 2.
So number 2, Judas Priest. And just seeing them last Wednesday, or I should say, because this is our Halloween show on October 31st. So seeing them recently in Las Vegas, came out, hour 45-minute set. They opened with Panic Attack, and they closed with Living After Midnight. And the Hellion Electric Eye is probably because the Hellion's the intro part, but they had the big cross being lowered down on the stage and the lights, and it's so effing good. It was just like we went there. It was a work event, so that was awesome. We had like 12 of us, and we brought a client.
Work event. That's great.
And so
I need a job like yours where you're going to Judas Priest concerts.
That was our event for the evening. We went from, we had a couple different dinners. I go, we're all going to meet at Planet Hollywood Live. inside the Planet Hollywood Live or Planet Hollywood Hotel. Cool theater, probably the size of Universal Amphitheater. Good sound, all that, totally packed. Rob Halford's 73. Now, again, unfortunately, KK and Glenn Tipton are no longer in the band. Richie Faulkner has been in there a number of years. I don't remember.
And he's a good guitarist.
He's great. I forget the guitarist, the other guitarist, but he is their producer now, too. But they represented, they did the moves back and forth. They had the choreography going. I believe Ian Hill is contractually required to stay within a 4x4 box because he doesn't move. He's tucked away in the back, and he does the same moves you talk about.
I heard you talking about that the other night.
Yeah, it was so funny. It's just like he can't leave. He couldn't take a piss. He couldn't. I don't think he even had a beverage because he couldn't go anywhere. And it's the same moves he's been doing since the US Festival, right? So it was kind of funny, and he's
Ian. They call it the Ian
but
Hill,
he's
right?
He's consistent in there.
Economy of motion.
That's it. He's just moving, just going, and that's it. But yeah, just far going back to the early days. My first concert ever was Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith in 1984 at Irvine Meadows. And if you want an entry point into any style of music, and you do it with Judas Priest when you're 14 years old, and Defenders of the Faith, that is such a good record. And when you leave the amphitheater and you're walking down the hill, we've been to Irvine Meadows probably multiple times, which is now apartments in Irvine, because what more do you need in Irvine is apartments. But the lasting memory of that night was the thunderous just launch of Judas Priest and what they were about. Walking out, they have all these crazy teenagers flipped a car over, lit it on fire, and I will never forget that. It's like, all right, this is pretty cool. Well, we weren't scared. We were just like, oh, well, that's not our car. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, Judas Priest.
That's metal.
That was metal. That was like, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my number 2. So.
All right. Number 2 for...
Number 2, probably in violation again, but I know they played during the 70s, and they bear mentioning because they had about 8 different guitar players at any point in time. And that would be Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
Nice. That's actually a good pull. So, might have started earlier than 70, but that's okay. You're in there. It's still good.
I think they may have. But I recently actually watched a documentary on them. I think it was called If I Leave Here Tomorrow or something like that. And they had more guitar players down the line. And I was lucky enough to go backstage for one of their shows, 10 years ago in Vegas, and I met Ricky Matlock, who, was actually their original drummer, believe it or not, when they kind of first got together. But now plays guitar for him and was a great guitar player, and you probably remember Blackfoot, all that kind of stuff. But tons of great guitar players in that band. And they were almost every one of them was as good as the next guy.
Sure.
They were unbelievable.
I wonder if they had multiple flute players, or if it was always the same flute guy.
They may have had multiple of that too. And with that, Chris, they're definitely, they're labeled the 1970s and iconic in the Southern rock scene, but they were, they had the third guitar player, right? And I saw them last year. They played in, we didn't go because I don't want to go downtown in Nashville on New Year's Eve. And so they did this huge outdoor concert. Cool bands, but they played, and I think they had like 6 guitar players on stage. It
wouldn't surprise me at all.
No. All right, so, well, we're down to numero uno for all of us. So let's have a cheers for that, right? Cheers to number 1. I kind of have a feeling I know who you guys are, and I'm sure you guys know who my number 1 is going to be. Just I'm as advertised on my shirt, but Kiss. There would be no Bill Crawford playing guitar if it wasn't for Kiss, and I can honestly say that because Ace Frehley, I was like, wow, and just Kiss in general. That's what made me want to play guitar.
Nice.
And then shortly after that, Randy Rhoads. Anyone with a Les Paul, I kind of took notice, but that went into Ozzy, and after that, so lots of guys inspired. But Kiss was just the band, and I know a lot of people dog him because he's not that technical, but the songs are great. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they're great.
Absolutely. That's what it comes down to.
So.
Yeah.
Great band. I was the same way. Kiss was the first band I ever had an album of, and it completely changed my life, like as far as what I like.
Yeah,
same thing.
Exactly. It probably got a lot of people's journey. Maybe they like, oh, this and that, whatever. But no, that band inspired so many bands. So
yeah.
So
good inspiration.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
You're up there, Scott.
All right. So my number one, and where I started listening to this band was on their fourth release. It came out in 1983, and then I went backwards. And then I discovered they had an original first singer, who unfortunately just passed away this week, Paul Di'Anno. So I revisited Iron Maiden, self-titled, and Killers, and I played those on my show recently. God, this is damn good music, and it's like They really are two different bands in a good way when they went from the Paul Di'Anno era into Bruce Dickinson. And the record that I was introduced to Iron Maiden was, and still one of my favorite all-time records, is Peace of Mind. And I listened, going to Music Plus and riding my bike over and buying it. I went through multiple cassettes and then CDs, and now I have, more than one vinyl version. I was looking like it's going to come out of my closet, but looking over at the vinyl, because I went and got a 30-year reissue, just because it had some additional stuff on it. But yeah, as far as just Dave Murray and Adrian Smith, and then Adrian dropped out a little bit, and Yannick Giers came on, and then Adrian Smith came back, and they probably, again, it's like, let's just keep the three guitar players. But as far as, to me, the core of the band was Dave Murray and Adrian Smith. And, they switched off between, doing lead and rhythm. And just the cohesiveness, the songs, just the look. Maiden is, clearly one of the all-time classic bands, period, but metal bands of all time.
Yep.
Without a doubt. Well, in the Great Minds Think Alike category, continuing from your Irvine Meadows conversation.
That was your car, right? Yeah.
The two
that was
best
free. Sorry. Yeah.
shows I've ever.
Sorry.
Yeah, the two best shows I've ever seen live in my life, 2009 and 2011, Iron Maiden. And I was fortunate enough, I had just moved to Seal Beach, and I knew nobody. I literally moved, and a guy that I worked with said, "Hey, my sister has 4 tickets to see Iron Maiden, and I don't know anybody that wants them. Would you want them?" And I was like, "Hell yes, I want them." And I knew nobody, so I didn't have anybody to go with me. So I had 4 tickets myself to Iron Maiden at the Irvine Meadows in 2009, and I went like 5 hours early to just sit and do Heavy Metal Parking Lot. And they were doing the opening riff, and I remember listening to that and thinking, how do these guys do that exactly at the same time as perfectly as they do? Yeah. And then to have 3 of them doing it, and it's amazing. And then getting to listen to some of Adrian Smith kind of more bluesy stuff, I appreciate him even more as a guitar player now.
That's so funny you just said that.
Heavy Metal Parking Lot, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith, Iron Maiden, all the way for me.
Yeah, and I was, Grindstone was a 2 guitar band with 2 lead guitar players.
Yep.
And that is challenging, not challenging, but you kind of have to have chemistry with the other person in order to be able
I can only imagine.
To like sink in with their style, with your style, and make it sound harmonious. That's why like all these dual guitar player bands, and I feel Night Ranger did it the best with Gillis and Jeff Watson. Just those guys, completely different style. I mean, whammy bar to no whammy bar guy, but when they locked in melodically, it was amazing. And that is really hard to find. And so like these bands that have to replace guitar players, I'm sure they have to audition them to see if they sync timing emotionally. Yeah. It's like you kind of refine your spirit animal. So anyways,
it's got to be tough for the guy who's sticking around, who's been in the band, to play with somebody new like that,
right?
And get that chemistry, because I'm sure that does not, it's like anything else with chemistry. It does, it's there for a reason.
Yeah, you have it. You got to have it with the people before you even step on stage with them. That's why Kulik's right. Kulik's been playing with Kiss for so long, and you know, and watch the documentary. He had to teach Ace how to play some of his riffs again. And so long since him and Peter were out of the band, they did the reunion thing. It's great. I was like, wow. So
that's crazy.
It was really cool. So, all right. Well, that's it.
Well, I'd like to congratulate myself for coming up with the top 10.
That was really good. Yeah.
For the most part.
Yep.
Having two to begin with.
No, there was a lot
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you definitely recovered well, Chris. So nicely done.
Well, my apologies for. I will read the full text thread the next time.
And I will actually type the topic correctly next time as well. So,
and then,
I feel like the guy who's like, I was told there'd be no math on this test, you know. So, yeah.
Yep, and then you gotta send that maybe in the title of the show link too on the email, right?
That would help. Yeah.
That would probably
I'm
help.
Taking notes.
All right. Well, nice job. Yeah. Well, nice job, you guys. Awesome as usual.
All right, fellas.
And
Bill, I'll see you tomorrow. Hey,
see you tomorrow, right?
I should say.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Don't do the angry pirate on me. That's my only request.
I won't do the angry pirate.
All right, guys.
All right, good.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
All right, guys.
3 guys in a bottle. And what was the topic again, Chris? That doesn't matter. We got through it.
Top 10 bands between 1970 and 1995 with 2 guitar players.
There you go.
All right, guys. All right. Until next time. See you.
See ya.
Till next time.
Yeah.
See you, fellas.
I'm Bill.
I'm Chris.
I'm Scott, and you're listening to
3 Guys and a Bottle.